Lego My Jameso.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Lego My Jameso. This week's episode is going to be me showing you how to just sort a pile of parts, whether you find that in a yard sale, an online auction, wherever that may be. I'm going to show you how to sort it down into individual categories. This video should be helpful. It may not be helpful for some of you that are more advanced, but I'm trying to think back to when I first started sorting, and I know for a fact I had many problems, questions, and just issues overall as things came up. So I'm going to show you step by step with just one pile of parts what I do. Hopefully it helps you. I'll have some tips and tricks along the way, and I'll speed up the process of the sortation so you're not going to sit through that entire time period. Don't worry. This will be fun. And yeah, so always please subscribe if you're enjoying the content and haven't yet, and like the video if it helps you. Leave a comment if you have any questions or things you want to see that I didn't show yet. But I'm going to sort now, and we'll go with the flow and see how it works. I have a box of parts here. I'm going to dump this out right now, and I'm just going to start sorting, and we'll get this pile done. Before you always start, once you have your sortation table, I find it's great to have an open area that is clean, free of parts and debris. It's helpful to have a brick separator on hand for any parts that may be stuck together that you can't disconnect. And overall, that's about it. And if you have a smaller table, you don't need to dump. This is only a small amount of parts at this point in time, but sometimes I'll do a mountain here and just work my way down to the bottom. Do whatever you're comfortable with, or do whatever you think you can get done in one sitting. If you have to take down the table in between projects, you'd hate to have a whole pile here and have to clean it all up before you're done to use the table for something else, depending on how much space you have. So I'm going to dump this out and sort now. So pretty much I'm just gonna go with the flow here. I started grabbing wheels, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to start grabbing every wheel and vehicle piece I see, and I'm just going to simply put that in the vehicles and wheels. So parts like the vehicle base, the wheel connector that holds the wheels, that's actually a modified plate. You can decide if you want to put that in the Bricklink category where it belongs on their website, or if you want to put that in with vehicles. Typically, whatever you decide to do doesn't matter until you go to list something. You just need to always stick to that same category you've been putting it in. Sometimes I've put half in here and half in here, and then it's always, annoying at the end to find them. So, and then, yeah. So I'm going to grab all these wheels first. You can grab any part at first. Whatever your eyes are drawn to at first is typically what I start to grab. So right now I see all these wheel parts. Actually like a lot of wheels. So I'm just taking all of these, as many as I can at a time, and putting them in there. And then so now I'm probably going to grab plates. I know there still might be wheels in here, but I'm just moving on to another category where I see there's a lot of things, and then I'll finish the wheels off when I get to a lower point. So I'm just going to grab all these plates. Depending on the size of your table, right now I'm reaching for these plates, but if I know, for example, that I'm only going to be grabbing plates, I can put this bin here, and I can just grab plates. That way it's in better arm's reach. And so here's a damaged part. I'll put that over here in the damaged. This is a large road piece. It has some, a sticker was on it. So I'm going to just put this aside for now, and I'll clean that. Base plates, you can have a separate area for these. You can put them in with plates, whatever you prefer. I'll keep this out for now. I don't often find base plates in builds or in piles, but when I do, I take them and put them in one box I have. So I'm just going to set this to the side. I'm just going to keep sorting through my pile here, and as I find items that I think I should talk about or that might help you, I'll stop and discuss them. So, like I said before, I know I'm not done finding all the plates in here, but I found the bulk amount so I can move on to another item. So I put the bin back for now. So as you can see here, I keep taking that bin of bricks down, and that's just to extend my reach and make things easier. And when I'm done finding bricks, I'll put that bin back to free up space again. So this is actually going a bit faster than I typically sort, and that is because this lot of parts primarily consists of, you know, when you had those bins of just Lego bricks where it's bricks, plates, slopes, and you know there's not much else to it. You'll find there'll be some lots that you purchase where there's going to be a ton of small parts that take time to go through. That's okay. It doesn't matter if it takes longer to sort. It just might, you know, it gets more complex, and that's why you see all these bins. And some of them I will not use today just because those parts are not in this pile. And if I ever find like I'm setting multiple parts aside that I don't have a bin for, I'll simply just get a bag and put them in that bag. So this is when I find that sorting is very draining and harder is right at the end. You look like you're right about there, but there are just still, there could be an easy 30 different part categories right in front of you. So you're not grabbing a whole lot at once. You're slowly working through it, and you're typically not seeing all of the same part at the same time. At least that's what I find for me. But we're going to stick through it. We're getting there. All right, so that's how I sort things. There's not a whole lot to it once you have your bins down and labeled. As you sort more, you'll remember what goes where. And like I said, anything you're unsure about, sometimes setting it to the side helps, or you can have like an unsure bin like I do. If you want to learn how to set up your sortation table for yourself, check out my previous video on setting up the sortation table and bin types and categories found on Bricklink. But that's pretty much all there is to sorting a lot of parts. What's more complex is when you're sorting something that you want to create sets with. This is primarily sorting to have inventory or sorting to find parts for other sets, but sometimes you'll come across a lot of, or a listing you'll buy will have sets like bits and pieces of sets and random parts. So in next week's video, I'll show you how to do that. And that gets a little more complex, but it's just a different type of sortation. And last but not least, if you only have a small quantity of parts, then you can just sort by color. But we'll talk about that next week. This is for creating inventory for your store and finding parts to help put other sets together. This is the best way to sort, because now I can go look at my sets and say, hey, I'm going to check through this plate box and see, or the bin of plates, and see, do I have parts in there that can help me complete my sets. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like the video. Please subscribe if you want to see more, as always. And thank you again for checking out this video. I appreciate it. Good night.